Hello and welcome, my lovely Leos. Leo, this is your weekly intuitive and energy card reading for the week of January 6th through January 12th, 2019. Remember, time is merely a pretense. These could be past, present, and or future energies and or lessons. And again, Leos, this is a general reading, but like a good fairy tale or fable, there will be something in there collectively for all Leos in this reading. For your soul evolution. So what do we have in the skies above? I already have your cards just jumping about here. In the skies above, remember, we still have all that Capricorn and Jupiter. Just think right now, especially right now, this week, we're going to think, remember, that's all this Big Daddy energy. It is, remember, Jupiter is Zeus, so that's Big Daddy Zeus energy. Capricorn is Big Daddy energy in terms of, have you eaten all your veggies yet before you get to your ice cream? Have you done all the work? I ask this all the time on my readings. Have you done the work? Spirit asks it on a constant basis. Have you done the work? Well, this is like all the energies around us collectively saying, have you really done the work? Because that's what's coming in towards you right now. Either ice cream or the veggies you didn't eat. Now, as serious as all this is and all the discipline heftiness that's coming at us, we do have a full moon in Cancer, which is Friday. Friday the 10th. Friday the 10th. Okay, just double checking there, Leos. But Friday the 10th, we have that full moon in Cancer. Capricorn is Big Daddy energy. Cancer is Big Mama energy. This is that big nurturing energy, making sure we're shoring up our foundations of security. It can create some harsh communication because communication within the home can be harsh just because we're so comfortable with each other, you know, with siblings and parents and what have you. But it's actually, emotions are going to be heftily triggered when it comes to security or, you know, threats to family. Don't threaten anybody's family this week because you will get laid out, kind of thing. But it's this idea of a nurturing kind of motherly energy, kind of like jumping into all this Capricornian business as well. And then on January 12th, we have that big Saturn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Remember, Saturn is the planet of karma, reality and restrictions. Pluto is about control and transformations. It's about freeing yourself in your future. It's also, well, the initial intention of Saturn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn is to increase value and empower systems. They're not going to increase value and empower systems that don't work. So what's going to happen is there should be a redistribution of power since we are all collectively feeling these energies. There's going to be a change in all that power. But thankfully, I know Cancer is all about feeling and what have you, but it's definitely this big mama energy coming in, making sure we're all fed, making sure everything's enhanced and pretty. It's just pulling a lot of that feminine energy in. I feel it a lot right now. I know, not to be too stuck up, but yeah, I do feel pretty right now, and I do get compliments right now, but I think I'm just pulling on that desire for feminine energy. With all this Capricorn around us, we do want that Cancerian opposite sign energy of just mom, you know. I miss my kids. I miss being a mom twice as much right now. All right, so let's get to this reading. Me being the Queen of Clovers, my readings tend to focus on life, craft, action, nurturing ourselves and others, and using our will for the highest good and calling with unconditional love and, of course, gratitude. This is my charismatic gift I share with you, my loves. And please like, subscribe. Thank you so much for all your support of the channel thus far. Even your views alone do assist us and get us somewhere. So let's see what we got going, Leo. All right, Leo, I have your spread all set out here, and I do have for the first line, I have the 5 of Swords, the Fool, and the 8 of Swords. In the upright, the Fool is in reverse. This is a decision. This is noticing that something is very conflicting, there's a bigger fight here than you want to fight. It's not worth the battle. it's like, is it worth the battle to free myself from this? But it's almost like understanding that it's a perception of freedom. It's that understanding of, it's not, is it really worth the fight? The Fool card is really questioning. You don't want to go on this journey. And moreover, the swords are very man-made. It's like, am I fighting something that doesn't exist? Yes. This is what, Leo, this is your message. You are fighting something that almost doesn't exist. Swords are very man-made. Man-made problems, man-made issues. Oftentimes, if you hangman your way through these swordsy issues, you kind of end up realizing it doesn't really matter. And you can walk away from a load of this shit. And I even see this guy walking away. If you look at the top of this card here, I'm out. And this person would rather drown and drop these swords than go on. It's that kind of feeling. It is definitely contention. And there's this sense of, Leo, there's this sense of not participating in this because you're beginning to see options. You're beginning to see choices. You don't have to stay with this. And it could be a marriage or commitment that you may have made that you're just really done with. And you're kind of coming into the information, King of Swords. I don't feel like this is a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Could be. But it's just this coming into this reality, this truth, this very stern truth of your own. This is, it's not even an inspiration because it's so certain information from yourselves that you're not going to, you don't have to participate in this. Swords are very particular about this reading, especially coming into this reading in terms of perceptions and concepts. And this is even like, it may not even be something you don't want to go in. It's just, you don't have to do this. It's something you don't have to do. Something that you've been doing that you're like, I don't have to be here. Maybe somebody finally said, you know, it's great that you're here, but I'm worried about you and your kids at home. Aren't there things you have to do there? Or I'm worried about you taking time away from your job. And you're like, I don't have to do this. It's not necessarily this big disaster coming down. It feels more like you're just moving on to something else. You're just seeing your other options. So you're just taking your bit of Four of Wands, you're taking your wands home kind of thing, and your swords home, and you're just kind of taking this idea, this concept, and this philosophy. So what's the result of it all? You're going to love this. I do love this. You're going to finish it up. This is the Nine of Wands. But in this Nine of Wands, it is the wounded warrior. So you've worked on this, whatever it is. You've put your time in. But this is about to take that last action, that last step. Whatever it is, you're evacuating yourself from this issue, from this situation. Like I said, it doesn't feel extremely disastrous. It feels extremely relieving. Like, oh my gosh, I can just walk away. Are you sure? It's like, really? It's almost like when you break even on a fight and you're just willing, especially with the Five of Swords, because the victory card from a Five of Swords is a Six of Swords. It's like a bittersweet victory. It's usually, I've kind of lost something in this business. It's like I've broken even, but I haven't, you know, I may have lost one or two things, maybe had to pay like a little bit, but whatever it was a lot bigger deal than I really was aware. See this blindfold? It really wasn't that big of a deal, and it wasn't really that big of a commitment. It's a relief coming your way, your total freedom. And this is totally waking up your brain. Like, oh my gosh, I'm heading out somewhere different, somewhere pretty freaking amazing, because what comes next is after you Nine of Wands and you do your last step, your last big push to get out of this business, this swordsy business that you've been in, now that you've seen some other options, you're like, thank you very much. I'm going to enthusiastically Knight of Swords my way somewhere else. This isn't necessarily about love. I don't really feel it's about love, but look at that big heart, that passionate defensive nature of yourself for that Seven of Wands. Whatever this has opened up for you, it's like when I was in a difficult marriage where I just didn't own my own time, one of the things I would do is, you know, when I was relieved of an obligation, let's say, oh, you don't have to come in at 6 a.m. anymore to do this and this. You could just come in at 8 a.m. this time, or you don't have to volunteer for this anymore. You suddenly have a swath of like 2 or 3 hours to yourself, and you're like, do I want to tell anybody that this time is freed up in my life? And it's like, no, because you already know what you're going to use that time for. It's like, oh, I used to babysit, or, 3 times a week maybe, and now I don't have to do that. Now I have all this time. I'm going to work out 3 times a week. You already know what you're going to do with this time. You already know what you're going to put, where you're going to put this energy, what you're going to enthusiastically ride toward. Now, some of you are going to have a little more difficulty than others getting out of this. I'm going to clarify real quick, but the point being is some of you may actually be trying to get out of a marriage. This is more, this card is feeling more traditionalist, though. Less about getting out of a marriage. Some of you will. Not very many of you are deciding to leave a marriage. This is more about deciding to break free from the traditional, to break free from the unnecessaries, let's say, of life. That's kind of like opening up this option for you. And like I said, you know exactly where you want to go, where you intend to go with this. It's I don't have to take this journey. I don't have to take this trip. So which way am I gonna go? Well, don't even bother asking that question, because I know you have that map hidden in the back of your pocket or what have you of what you're going to chase. Advice from Spirit. I have this King of Cups in the reverse, the Ace of Swords. No surprise there. Okay. Is that the Four of Swords in reverse? Yes. Spirit is completely saying there are people you love in your life that don't deserve this time. This King of Cups in reverse is, you're going to pour out this cup of effort because you don't have to use it anymore. You don't have to put this love in that place anymore. It's a relief. It's an unburdening. It's like when you change up your systems. That heater's so loud. Let me close the door. Okay, it's when you change your systems so much that you make room and you're like, oh, maybe I'll use that time and energy to catch up on laundry. Spirit is saying, don't fucking bullshit them. You just got this space to make room for your heart. You're about to get a new inspiration. Spirit is saying, you have an inspiration. If you sit down and said, what kind of Ace the Sword business am I working on? It's already there. This is something that's been in your heart probably since Scorpio season, probably since November, October, November, Scorpio, Mars. What that was kind of pushing you forward, but you didn't have the resources, specifically time. Time is a very big factor here, and I very rarely pick up time in my readings. So it's very important, Leo, that you pay attention to this freeing up of time and own it, that it's yours. You need to crown it. You need to keep this time as your own and use it to write, to lose weight, to advance your career, to clean out your closets and your cupboards. I don't know what it is, but it is your time. It is something that it's sitting on you, like on your shoulders. Your angel on your shoulder, or your parrot on your shoulders. Actually, piratey energy keeps coming back to me, and it's like whispering in your ear or squawking in your ear. Why haven't we fucking done this yet? Well, here's the resource. Here's the time. You do have some regret. Spirit wants you to use this regret, though, as a it's not something you would have walked away from if you weren't relieved of your responsibilities. This thing that you're getting cut out of your life, it might just be done. The season might be over. It might be end of year. It might be time to re-sign up, and you're just not. It's just taking time for yourself in your dreams, and you do have some regret about this, but you don't have entirely empty cups. It's just closing this chapter on your life on something that it really isn't very big. You are not that critically involved. Spirit has bigger things for you elsewhere. And if you accept that, a lot of that regret is just going to flounder away, because you're going to start putting your energy exactly where it belongs. This Spirit is saying the energy that you were using for whatever this was, whatever this freeing up is for my Leos, You were using this energy wisely because you were using it as you could for the time you could. But now all of a sudden there's this opening up in Capricorn season of this big daddy energy reorganizing the systems. This is you reorganizing your life, your system. And then I do have this Four of Swords, a lot of swords in reverse. Four of Swords in reverse is not being open. It's not being receptive to change. It's not being receptive to input from others in terms of, it is a resting card, but this is an upright. In reverse, it's not a resting card. This is getting up to fight. Five of Swords, but it's somewhere else. You're not open to fight anybody else's battle. You're not open to put this time into somebody else's journey. This is 100% yours to hold on to. And that is the message from Spirit. Like you were totally putting your time elsewhere. Spirit said you were doing fine. Don't regret the time you've wasted. You think you've wasted. Because if you really sit down, in fact, Spirit does recommend you sit down and you say, when I was putting my time into this, what did I get out of it? Because it's going to shore you up for wherever you're going. Extra message there for you. All right, thank you, Leo. This is really lovely reading for you. It's just that opening up for you to nurture. Take that Capricornian disciplinarian energy that you've been using for this past activity, and then mixing it with that Cancerian full moon energy coming in to nurture what's really, really important to you, your spiritual calling. It feels really good. All right, thank you for sharing your energy with me, Leo. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, tip or donate if the Spirit moves you. And of course, have a great week and enjoy that Cancer full moon. It's also an eclipse. And then also Saturn conjunct Pluto on the 12th, which is the energy of boosting systems that work. All right. Have a great week, my loves.